Trump's latest trick could make tariffs more palatable. President Donald Trump's tariff ambitions have been a tough sell. They've put investors in a tizzy, sending financial markets spiraling, cost him the support of many members of his own voter base, and, well, angered CEOs. Rather than back down and reverse course entirely just a week before Trump's promised Liberation Day on April 2nd, he's employing a familiar marketing strategy. Prepare Americans for the worst and deliver something that's not quite as tough to swallow. On Monday, Trump did exactly that. For the most part, April 2nd will be a big day, Trump said, referring to the day he has promised sweeping tariffs against all of America's trading partners. It's a subtle change from insisting that it will be the big day involving not just dollar-for-dollar reciprocal tariffs but also sector-wide tariffs. To investors' glee, Trump even managed to mention doling out carve-outs. There definitely has to be a marketing component to this, as the logic behind increased tariffs is not obvious. Colin Grabow, associate director at the Cato Institute's Herbert A. Stiefel Center for Trade Policy Studies, told CNN. My suspicion is that the Trump administration is trying to balance its goals of higher tariffs while not spooking markets too badly. On Monday, Trump changed the conversation from fears about the economic effects of tariffs to relief that he appeared to be delaying some of those levies. Auto tariffs, he said, will be announced very shortly, pharmaceutical tariffs at some point, semiconductor and lumber tariffs down the road. And on the big, bold reciprocal tariffs, Trump conceded, "I may give a lot of countries breaks. We might be even nicer than that," Trump added. As Don Draper, the fictional ad executive in Mad Men, told a client concerned about public opinion, "If you don't like what's being said, change the conversation." This isn't the first time Trump changed the conversation by presenting a lighter tariff approach compared to prior promises he's made. For example, days after Trump was re-elected, he said, "On January 20th, as one of my many first executive orders, I will sign all necessary documents to charge Mexico and Canada a 25% tariff on all products coming into the United States and its ridiculous open borders." That didn't happen, however, causing stocks to surge as investors breathed a huge sigh of relief. Then, the date for those tariffs got pushed back not once but twice. The second delay came after they were briefly enacted and then delayed, but only in part. That meant goods from the two countries are now subject to 25% tariffs if they don't comply with the terms of the USMCA Free Trade Treaty that Trump signed during his first term. That bit of fine print has largely gone unnoticed. For China, Trump threatened on the campaign trail to levy tariffs as high as 60% on all Chinese goods coming into the U.S. As it stands, there's a 20% tariff on Chinese imports and an additional 25% tariff on steel and aluminum from there. Mexico, China, and Canada are America's top three trading partners, accounting for 41% of the total value of goods the U.S. imported last year, according to Commerce Department data. That's why economists and businesses have been fretting about a full-blown trade war between the three countries that could cause crucial goods to become significantly more expensive to produce. So far, that's largely been avoided. In other words, Trump threatened maximum pain and dialed it back just enough to soothe nerves. Tariffs are still in place. They're just a pill that's now a bit easier to swallow. It's not a coincidence that Trump is standing firmer on reciprocal tariffs than sector or country-specific tariffs he's previously floated. Even though he's opened the door to more flexibility, it's highly unlikely he'll postpone Liberation Day. With reciprocal tariffs matching countries' import taxes dollar for dollar, he has perhaps the easiest pitch to make for reciprocal tariffs. To use Trump's verbiage, if they charge us, we charge them. Those are easy to understand for most Americans. An issue of fairness that many folks can get behind as opposed to across-the-board punitive tariffs on countries or products. We've been ripped off by every country in the world, Trump said Monday in a cabinet meeting. Framing tariff hikes as a corrective to abusive practices by U.S. trading partners, essentially giving them a taste of their own medicine, seems much easier to justify than sectoral tariffs with only nebulous connections to their proposed justification, Grabo said. On top of which, reciprocal tariffs can be framed as a means to achieve an overall lowering of trade barriers, while the proposed sectoral tariffs cannot, he said.